Today I have a very exciting video for you. I bought a lot of things from the new Catrice Spring 2025 update. I have so many products here. This isn't going to be the only video as well. I also am going to do some lip swatching video. Those will be coming probably next week. I am just personally very excited about this update. There are so many things here. Probably I won't be able to try everything on my face. I'm gonna do my best, but I'm definitely gonna show you a bunch of swatches and first impression thoughts. So let's get into it. So we have some skin products here. It doesn't always happen that I try skin products when it comes to the new Catrice update, but they did have a few interesting things. First up, I have here the Catrice Glam in Gold Hydrating Primer, and I have very dry skin. The primer that I've actually been using recently and I've been quite enjoying is the Revolution Super Base with vitamins, the vitamin base primer. This is super hydrating, like so hydrating that if you don't have super dry skin, I wouldn't recommend that. This one seems a little bit more serum-y. It says enriched with delicate gold flakes and hyaluronic acid, gives a radiant complexion and extends the wear of makeup. I think this is going to be a little bit more serum-y, a little bit more like different skin types friendly. We're just gonna try it out. I'm just gonna apply it. Should I do one pump? I'm gonna start with one pump because it does feel pretty like emollient. It does definitely leave some gold specks on the skin, which I don't really understand. Feels really nice though. It actually feels really good. Like super soft and hydrating. So maybe I will just like pluck off the few random gold sparks off my face and like accept it. I feel like that's feeling really good. Do we have some ingredients? It is fragrance free, oil free and alcohol free. Mostly glycerin, hyaluronic acid, grapeseed extract, aloe vera. Like, this is a pretty basic ingredient list, but I loved it. I love that this doesn't have any fragrance. Like, I tried a kind of like hydrating sticky aloe vera primer, I think from the last update, and it did have fragrance. I'm a little too sensitive for that to use that on the everyday. This is sinking in quite quickly. It's feeling quite good. I like it. Slightly tacky. This might be a good one. I'm glad that I picked it up. I kind of felt like, do I need that? But it's feeling pretty good. Before I forget, I also bought one of the new nail polishes. Catrice has come out with a new line of nail polishes, and historically I've really enjoyed the Catrice nail polishes, so I was excited to try just one of the shades, see what it's like. As you can see, I'm not wearing it right now, but I did do a swatch on a swatch stick. That is something that I am planning to do in the future. If I have some nail polishes from my collection, I just want to show you kind of like what it looks like. I will use it on a swatch stick. This one I will for sure also wear on my nails to kind of like see the wear, see what it's like, because it's a full range of new nail polishes. This is the Gel Affair Nail Lacquer, and this is 005. Today was a fairy tale. So I didn't really know from like the website if this was gonna be like my perfect shade, but I thought, you know what, that name sounds really interesting and I love light pink. This looks really cute, like a soft pink, cool tone pink shade with kind of like pinky champagne sparkle running throughout it. I think this is promising. I'm gonna be trying this out as a full manicure soon. Okay, next up, one of the most exciting products, according to me, is the new Catrice Soft Glam Filter Stick Glow Booster. So I really like the liquid glow booster from Catrice, but it has kind of like been dethroned by the Charlotte Tilbury Unreal Skin Tint Stick. I love that one so much. It was in my yearly favorites, and now it seems that this is kind of like a dupe-like product from Catrice for that stick. So this says, with vitamin E, glow boosting face stick, sheer coverage, radiant complexion. This sounds very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury one. I got shade 010 Fair Light, and I did swatch this next to the Charlotte Tilbury one that I have as well. I have shade 2 in the Charlotte Tilbury one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2 Fair. These swatched so similarly. Like, these looked almost identical in the swatch, like the shade and also the finish. So I'm very excited about this, because if there's a cheaper version of like my favorite skin product, I'm all for it. I'm so excited. The packaging does feel a little cheaper, of course, than a Charlotte Tilbury, but it's Catrice. It's like €5. Yeah, I feel like this is gonna have a pretty similar effect. I'm gonna apply like I would the Charlotte Tilbury Like the way it goes on, it feels pretty similar, maybe a little bit less radiant, which could actually be good for the people that want something a little bit less radiant than the actual Charlotte Tilbury one. Like not everybody wants to look that glowy, I can understand. I'm using the F01 from Cinch Beauty to blend this out. My chin is looking a little rough today. Like my skin overall is looking a little rough today. I don't know what I did. But I also have a concealer that I'm gonna be trying. I feel like this is really easy to use. It is sheer. And it's a little bit less radiant than the Charlotte Tilbury. So if the radiance of that one kind of scared you, like this could still work for you. But it still has the ease of use. Of course, we're gonna see how this is gonna last. It is the afternoon currently, so it's not gonna be like a full wear test. But this is actually looking pretty good. I like the shade, but it's the same shade as the Charlotte Tilbury that I do enjoy. I'm gonna apply a little bit to my neck as well. I always forget that, like why? I always do it, but I always forget it at first. I'm gonna try and not blend this into my sweater. Like it is a subtle product, but the ease of use of it is great. Like there's not a lot of coverage, but it does make your skin look a little bit healthy, glowy. It feels kind of hydrated, but not like sticky or goopy or too thick. But I definitely see that the shine in this in comparison to the Charlotte Tilbury is like toned down a little bit. But I do feel like they went for that type of product. But I think it's smart to tone it down a little bit because a lot of people thought the Charlotte Tilbury was too glowy. And this might even be, because of that, a little bit easier to use. I also feel like it blended well on top of that primer. Yeah, I feel like it isn't looking weird anywhere. It's looking good. Let me do the close-up. Like, I don't see it grabbing on to any dry patches. It doesn't look weird. It makes it look a little bit smooth and glowy. It doesn't feel sticky. I'm gonna try and build this up just a little bit, just to see if this looks better when built up than the Charlotte Tilbury one, because that one, when you build it up, it just starts looking a little crazy. Like then you truly get the disco ball effect that a lot of people talk about. So just doing a little more. Yeah, I don't feel like this starts looking so metallic-y. Is this gonna dethrone once again my favorite skin tint product? Like this is like a pretty good build up. Of course, the wear test is gonna be where it's truly decided, because the Charlotte Tilbury, that one wears all day for me. Like there's no end to it basically. I like the amount of glow on this one so much. Like this is really easy to use. Still no weirdness, still nothing crazy. I feel like it's looking very, very good. Okay, we're moving on to the new concealer. This is the Catrice Instant Bright Serum Concealer. This has medium coverage, it's 18-hour long lasting. It does have niacinamide and hyaluronic acid. I grabbed the shade 002N. And this one is pretty yellow. I have a feeling this might not work for me. There's also a 10 Cool, and I was a little scared that the Cool shade might be a little bit too pink on me. Like I am neutral cool, but like really pink undertones, they don't really suit me. But this one looks really, really yellowy. It looks more yellow than the concealer that I have from Catrice, which is a really great shade for me, by the way. The Liquid Camouflage Concealer. I have that one in shade 10 Porcelain. So this one seems like it might not be my shade, but oh, you know what? Maybe it will. Maybe it will. I'm just gonna apply a little bit of that. Ooh, it's a little messy. Like there's the stopper might be a little bit too big for such a like creamy serumy product. Like that might get a little messy. Okay, let's see. So there's medium coverage. It's supposed to be serumy. I did feel in the swatch that it swatched kind of like it could be a little bit more creamy than a lot of serumy concealers that I've tried. I feel like overall serum concealers are something that a lot of people enjoy. This might not be a terrible shade for me. Should I zoom you in a little bit? I feel like that might help. Sorry about that. You can see my skin a little better with the skin tint. Definitely a glow to it here with the concealer. It is a little yellowy, Maybe if I apply a little less, I could actually get away with this. I think I might like this texture quite a bit because it's a little bit more creamy feeling and looking and just in coverage than a lot of serum-like concealers. And I just have discovered that super serum-like concealers are not exactly my thing. Like, I don't feel like they grab onto my skin exactly the way I want. I do like a little bit more of a creamy look. My under eyes are just disappearing. Like, the darkness is totally disappearing. I did grab quite a bit, like for me and how much concealer I usually grab. I did take a lot, but it definitely has quite a good coverage for me. Like, that's looking brightened for sure. I feel like it's looking really good on the pimple. I feel like it's looking pretty good on my skin. I just took a little bit much. I feel like using just a little bit less might be perfect for me because now it's just looking a little heavy, I think. Yeah, I feel like now it's kind of like laying on top a little bit too much. So I should definitely try this one again and use a little less. I'm gonna use a sponge to kind of like blend it in a little bit more. That is just something I've been enjoying with a little bit like slightly heavy products. Yeah, I like that a lot more. It just is laying on top of the skin a little bit too much and looking a little bit too artificial for me. Okay, I have hope for that concealer. Like, it's feeling good. I have a feeling this might be one for me. Like, I'm pretty excited about that one. Okay, I put on some eye primer and we're gonna do some eyeshadow. I have quite a few different eye products. First up, I have here the new shades of the Space Glam Chrome eyeshadows. I got all of the new shades because I really love this formula. So we have shade 40 Stardust, and this shade is kind of like a gray to a periwinkle. Really beautiful, very glowy. Then we also have shade 50 Cosmic Coral, and this is kind of like a purple, pink, bronze, rose gold kind of shade. A little bit more on the neutral side, which I really love. When it comes to multi-chrome eyeshadows, I love it when it's kind of like neutral. And then we also have 060 Galactic Glow, and this one is very strongly shifting in between kind of like an aqua blue and a more green blue. It's kind of like blue to green. Very cool. I love how shifty that is. Because I know that I love this formula, I might not actually try this. We also have the Metallic Spark Cream Eyeshadow. I bought one of the shades in this one because it's a cream eyeshadow. I don't know if it's gonna last on me. I got 020 Diamond Dust. And I thought it was gonna be more of like a sparkly topper shade maybe even, but it seems more like a very metallic glow that it has to it. It feels creamy in a very interesting way, kind of like in between a cream eyeshadow and kind of like a jelly eyeshadow maybe. I don't know if I'm gonna try this today because what I'm actually most excited about is this Tiny Treasures eyeshadow palette. And they weren't kidding when they said Tiny Treasures because this is a mini eyeshadow palette. It's very cute. I got the shade 020 Wild Berry, and this is a kind of like softer rosy color story. I just really want to see what this formula is about. One thing that I already did notice is that these pans are laid out in such a way that it's really hard to get your fingers in. And I do usually apply my shimmers with my finger and I have long nails. It was a little bit hard to get into these pans, but I think this color story is pretty cute, so I do want to try that out. But I have a feeling like it's not really gonna work with that Metallic Spark eyeshadow. But I might just do like a short or something with that. I'm also gonna try and do my update on all of these products, like the actual review, pretty quickly. So I think we're just gonna try out this eyeshadow palette. I also have some liners that I might add in later, but now we're just gonna start out with this eyeshadow palette. And I kind of just want to start out with the darkest berry shade, like this matte shade over here. And I'm really hoping this is gonna have some good pigment. Wearing my eyeshadow primer, my Milani eyeshadow primer. And this is looking pretty good. I do love me a berry eyeshadow. Ooh, that's pretty nice. I like it. That's blending really well. Next up, I want to use this lighter kind of mauve shade in the crease as well. Kind of blending that right in here. That doesn't seem too bad either. There's definitely something a little like soft and muted about these shadows, but they do work. Like they quite easily blend into each other. I'm gonna use that berry shade on the lower lash line, just smoking that out. And then I'm gonna grab that lighter mauve to blend. Yeah, these are pretty blendable shades, but I do feel like it gets like to a blown out look pretty quickly. And usually I do prefer when it's a little bit more like precise almost when I apply it. We are gonna try one of the shimmers. I'm gonna go with this berry shade over here. I'm gonna try to get that on my finger, but it's pretty difficult to do. This is really like that kind of shade where you mix them together on your finger. Oh, that's looking pretty cute. A little soft because I can't get as much pigment as I would want. Like I really have to dig in a little bit, but pretty cute. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be like my favorite formula. If it's like blowing me away, absolutely, but it's working. Like if you don't have a ton of eyeshadow palettes, you don't have super high expectations of them, I'm just gonna try the lighter shimmer, like the more silvery one, a bit in the inner corner, kind of. That adds some dimension. If you don't have like super high expectations of your eyeshadow palettes, like this is a cute palette. It works. Just gonna apply a little bit more of the berry shade over here in the inner corner because I just feel like it kind of loses its intensity pretty quickly. And that is not exactly what I'm going for here. I want something a little bit more. Like, do you see that difference? I do want to be able to create some contrast, especially with these kind of berry mauve shades. Yeah, you can build it up, but definitely going back in really helps with that. Okay, we're moving on to the next product. I have here the Catrice Super Proof Brush Liner Waterproof. This is a brown eyeliner, and the reason why I decided to grab this is actually because it has a brush liner, and I think that's really interesting because they already had these felt tip liners, and I thought I want to see if I like this better because I always hear people say like the brush liners are better. I do have to say in a swatch, this seemed a little bit watery. It didn't seem like full pigment, but we're just gonna try it. It does say shake well before use, so let's do that. I don't know if I did that for the swatch, so might not have been totally fair, that swatch. Okay, I shook it well. Let's try this out. I feel like it's still a little watery. Like it's not as precise as I would want it to be. And it's kind of like feathering a little bit. It's also a very dark brown. I was expecting it to be a little bit softer. It just seems too liquidy. And I do like the felt tip liners that they have. Those are a little bit more pigmented. Yeah, I don't know if I love that one. I think it is sort of usable, but it's just not the pigment level that I'm used to from Catrice, even when I've shaken it, shook it really well. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that one. Let's see if we can save the day with the Space Glam Liquid Effect eyeliners. I got 3 of the shades. These are a new formula in the Space Glam line. We have first up the shade 010 Moonstone Metallic, which is a silver shade. Then we also have 020 Galactic Glitter, which is kind of like a green to blue to lime kind of multi-chrome liner. This one looks truly multi-chrome. And then we also have the shade 30 Cosmic Chrome, which is kind of like a gold, purple, blue, green. This one is also truly multi-chrome. I don't know if any of these suit this look super well, but I think I'm gonna like apply the silvery liner kind of on top of the brown one and see if I can kind of like top it over. Yeah, that one is nice. That one is actually pretty pigmented like that. It's very liquidy, but it does have pigment. I like that actually. I do like a good multi-chrome liner. Although this one I don't think is really multi-chrome. This one is kind of like silvery blue. I do take off quite a bit. Like I scrape off a little bit on the edge of the tube. Because otherwise it's a little too liquidy. I get too much pigment. Okay, this one I do have to play around with a little bit more. But I do think I like the chrome liner more than the brown liner. Okay, I think I do want to play around a little bit with one of the new Space Glam Chrome eyeshadows. I'm gonna grab the blue shade and just gonna pop that in my inner corner. Gonna take a pencil brush. Like, this look has already taken a turn with a silver liner, so let's just try something else. I just think that this shimmer formula packs more of a punch than the shimmer formula in that eyeshadow palette. Blending that here a little as well. Okay, it's time to finish up the eye look. And I did get, in the end, the Catrice Glam Doll Volume Brown Mascara Waterproof. Because I think this is the first time they've done a brown mascara in the Glam Doll line. So I haven't tried this line before. I usually only try brown mascaras. So I thought, this is my chance, I'm gonna try it. I did kind of compare the color and the brush to my favorite mascara at the moment. And that is a Lash Without Limits brown mascara from Essence. And I do have to say that the brushes look very similar, so I have high hopes for the brush. And this one, the Glam Doll, is a little bit more warm toned in the undertone of the brown. So we're gonna see if I'm really gonna like this one. I haven't tried a lot of mascaras by Catrice, so I'm very curious. I do feel like usually waterproof mascaras are a little bit more subtle in their effect. Like, this definitely doesn't have the impact right away that the Essence mascara has. Like, it's more subtle. It does create more like thin eyelash hairs. Like, it doesn't create the volume that the Essence one does. But I do feel like it separates well and it's looking like fluttery and natural. So it also depends what you are looking for in a mascara. Yeah, it's making my lashes look very thin. Gonna see what happens when I apply another layer. But so far, I don't know if this is gonna be my favorite. Like, it's very subtle. But if you want a more natural look, you want your mascara to be waterproof, this could be for you. And probably the usual Glam Doll formula is a little bit more voluminous, volumizing than this. Okay, let's try another layer on the other side. It's just subtle. Oh, it's getting a little bit less subtle. A little bit. And I do have to say, sometimes mascaras do need a little bit of time to kind of like dry out to become the best versions of themselves. So could still be that this becomes a little better after a few times using it. So I'm not gonna judge it too harshly, but right now, I don't think this is absolutely amazing. Okay, I don't really have a like pen eyeliner, so I'm just gonna use my Keep It Serum Cappuccino from Nala. Okay, it's time to move on with the skin. And I have here the Catrice Sun Melted Liquid Bronzer. And I actually got shade 15 in this one. And it's a liquid bronzer, buildable coverage, melts gently into the skin for a natural sun-kissed look. If I really love it, I might think about buying shade 10 as well. That one looked really cool tone, but next to this one, it looked kind of gray and like it went a little bit maybe too far into the contour territory. So I decided to get shade 15 and I've been really enjoying the formulas of liquid bronzers that I've tried by Catrice lately. And I actually did also compare this to the Finding Dory liquid bronzer by Catrice from their limited edition that I recently did, and this is in shade 10 light to medium. So these actually are kind of similar in the formula. I do feel like the Finding Dory one might be a little bit more creamy, but it could also be that there's a little bit more product on this doe foot when you apply it. This one is definitely a little bit more cool toned, the Finding Dory one. This one is a little bit more warm toned. I don't think it's gonna be orangey, but it's gonna be a little bit warmer than what I usually go for. It did seem really like smooth in a swatch. I'm very excited about it. It seems a little bit less messy than the Finding Dory one, even though I really enjoyed that one. I think it's a great bronzer and I really like to use it. I feel like this one is a little bit more like precise probably in the application, but we're gonna try it out and see. It might not be the case as well. So I'm just gonna apply a few. Yeah, it seems a little like bronzy for me, but I do feel like a more bronzy shade can still work for me as long as I don't use too much of it. So let's start blending and see. I think it's gonna be an especially good shade for me in the summer. Now it might be slightly too dark. I'm a little unsure this is gonna be like my shade right now. Well, it's looking pretty good. But a lot of the time when I start trying new like bronzing products, it takes a little bit of time to kind of like figure out the right amount of product to use for the best application. I do feel like it's looking good. And it's a little bit more of like a truly sunburn shade for me. Like a truly I've been in the sun kind of shade. I think I like it. It has a little bit of a serum-y like vibe to it almost, but I am quite enjoying it. On this side, I think I applied a little bit too much on my forehead, but that's definitely my fault. It's something I can work on, like just apply a little bit less. But so far, I'm liking it. I feel like it's drying down. Yeah, it's definitely drying down. I'm gonna go in with my sponge. Ooh. I'm gonna go in a little bit with my sponge to kind of like blend it in even a little bit more, to let it sink into the skin a little bit more, because I did use a little bit much of a shade that is a little dark for me right now. But I think I'm quite liking it. Yeah, it's a great finish. Like it's really like a skin-like finish, not glowy but also not matte. I feel like it's blending in with the skin tint really nicely. Like that was pretty easy to use, even though I used quite a bit of it. So pretty happy about that one. And then I also have here the Catrice Blushin Charm Multi-Stick. And this is a blush liner. I wasn't really sure where this was gonna go, if it was gonna be similar to the cream blushes in a stick that they already had in their collection. This one is a actual glowy product. It seems like it could be matte when you first open it, but when you start applying it or like swatching it, it does have kind of like an almost golden glow to it. Very interesting. That one is definitely what I'm gonna try today. I also have here the AirBlush Matte in a new shade. I believe this formula already existed. I've actually never tried it before, so I thought this is such a nice shade. I think this might be the right time to try it out, to try the formula. So this is 140 Pink Lemonade, and I do love me a good blurring blush. I do love a cool toned-ish pink blush. Like it's not extremely cool tone, it still has a little bit something almost peachy to it. I'm not going to be trying this one today, but I did want to show you the swatch. We are going to focus on the blush liner. Very excited about that one. I am just gonna apply this directly to the cheeks and we'll see how it blends out. If it blends out like that, it doesn't seem super pigmented. This one, by the way, does have quite a strong kind of like sweet candy scent, which I personally don't think is necessary for a blush. I feel like blushes don't need a scent. I do understand it when it's in a lip product. I feel like this is blending out pretty nicely, but I can definitely smell it while like applying it. It smells a little bit like almost like a lemonade or something. It's kind of what I have to think about. It's pretty cute. Not as glowy as I was expecting it to be from the swatch, but it definitely has a glow to it, but it's not like shimmery or anything too crazy. Like it's nice, it's smooth, I think. Like, is it really a blush liner? I don't know. It seems a little bit more like a natural finish to me, not like crazy highlighty, like is it a highlighter or is it a blush? I don't see any shimmer really on my cheeks. It just is kind of like this natural glow. So if you're not into like super shimmery cheeks, this could still be for you. I'm gonna build it up a little bit more. It's not super crazy pigmented. I do like this one. I think it's a good formulation. Like it's easy to use. It's not glittery. It doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel sticky. Like it feels like you have applied a cream to the skin, but it's not like a heavy product. Like I don't think it's gonna be like a full dry down, absolutely no transfer kind of product. That's actually really nice. I like that one. I could definitely see myself using that more. I feel like this one has a lot of potential. I really wanted to pick up the Diamond Haze highlighter also to compare it with the highlighters that we've seen, the shimmery highlighters that we've seen from Essence and Catrice Limited Editions, but that one wasn't online at Boozy Shop, so I will do that later on. So yeah, I don't have any type of highlighter to try, so I'm just gonna use a little bit of the My Heart Beats Disco highlighter from Essence. It's just that really shimmery wet look, like really shimmery. I just take a tiny bit. Like it's sort of chunky, but from a distance it's definitely a wet look. And applying a little bit on top here. Okay, quickly dip my brows because I also don't have any brow products. We have some lip products left. Some lip products will be in other videos where I bought the full range of shades. I do have the Melt and Plump Juicy Lip Plumper. Those are on the minty side, just so you know. I did just before filming apply one just to kind of see. I also have the glossy dripping lip balms. That's also going to be in another video. Let's try the product that I just bought one of to see just the color or the formula. I have here the Catrice Mix It Up Lip Booster Extreme in Pearl Plumper. I don't know if I tried the Lip Booster Extreme from Catrice, but I thought this sounded really interesting. Seemed like a really nice shade. And I do love a pearl gloss, and usually I don't get scared away when lip products are really like spicy, because usually they don't seem super painful to me. I do already feel like this will probably be a pretty painful formula for a lot of people. Like it's definitely a little spicy. It has menthol and chili. It definitely is something that I'm feeling. I do feel like the color of this is really beautiful, looks really nice, but yeah, it's a little spicy. Not something that I feel like is too much for me. Apparently my lips are just not super sensitive. It's a beautiful gloss. Like if you like this formula, I feel like the shimmer is infused in this in a very nice way. It is really like this subtle shimmer, dimensional, pearly shine, not too chunky, doesn't feel gritty. So yeah, that's pretty nice, but a little spicy. Then we also have this new line of Diamond Glaze lip glosses, and I got one shade just to see because a lot of the time super chunky shimmery lip glosses or glittery lip glosses aren't really my thing, so I decided to grab this shade 020 Poppin Glitters, and this is kind of like a multicolored lip gloss with pink, champagne and blue sparkles. It has a really nice type of doe foot, the one that has kind of like the hole in the middle that kind of like holds the product, and then you can really easily disperse it over the lips. So we're gonna try and do that. This is definitely very shimmery. Smells kind of like plasticky sweet, like artificially candy sweet, which is not my favorite, like artificial strawberry or something like that. And I do feel like with this gloss, it's more shimmery than it is glossy. And usually when I do in the end up enjoying a glittery gloss, because sometimes it happens, it definitely happens. I have some really nice glittery glosses in my collection. I do like it when there's also more gloss to it. And I feel like this one isn't super glossy, it's mostly shimmery. Yeah, I personally don't think I love this one. Like if you like a really truly shimmery frosty gloss, this could still be for you. Like it's not gritty, like you kind of feel that something is in there. It's not just a smooth cream gloss, but I don't know, I just was hoping for a little bit more like gloss as well, but it's mostly shimmer, it's mostly glitter. My lips are still burning a little bit from that first gloss. Next up we also have a new range of Lip Artist matte lipstick and liners. I believe there are like 5 or 6 shades of this, and I decided to grab the shade 010 Always Together just to kind of see what this is about, because sometimes these more kind of like matte lipsticks by Catrice end up being really good, and I just want to know first if it's that type of thing. So we have on the one side kind of like a creamy liner, and then on the other side we have this slim lipstick. This is kind of almost like a peachy nude shade, and I'm just gonna line my lips first. I still have a little bit of glitter on my lips, I can see now, but this one I'm also gonna take off because there's one more formula that I'm gonna try. This side isn't as overly creamy as I was thinking, which is actually good. So you're not getting like a super sharp line with this. It's a little bit more soft in pigmentation. Well, in the end, this is looking pretty good, I think. So that is the liner. And now for the lipstick. That is feeling pretty creamy. That is gliding on. I think that is looking pretty good. I think that's quite a nice combination. It's feeling comfortable. Really like a comfort matte. It also isn't like a dead matte, flat matte. It definitely still has almost a little bit of a satin sheen to it. I feel like that is looking quite nice. Like there's some potential to this formula. I think I could actually come to really like that. I also quite like the shade. It's a little on the warm side for me, but it's kind of on the edge of what I would still wear. Yeah, that is looking quite nice. I'm definitely excited to try it out a little more, see how long it wears. But we have one more product to try, and I really want to try this last to kind of see what happens with this. So this is the Catrice Glass Like Dewy Lip Tint. I didn't know that this was coming. I didn't mention it in my buy or skip video, but I'm really excited to see if this is the type of tint that I enjoy. I got the shade 010, it's complicated, and this is such a beautiful cool tone, kind of like pinky mauve. Looks amazing, so yeah, let's try it out. I still feel a little bit of the burning sensation on my lips, and I took off the gloss pretty quickly, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's try the Glassy Lip Tint. This is such a good color. Feels really soft and cooling. That is such a beautiful shade. I'm so happy that this is the shade that I chose. I don't feel like the stain on this is gonna be too crazy. That is looking really nice. It feels watery, it feels kind of cooling, but it doesn't have any minty sensation or any plumping in it. It's looking really nice. I do feel like it's sitting into my lip lines a little bit now. Like I can see it kind of separating there, like sinking in. Can you see that? It's definitely emphasizing a little bit of my lip lines. But I'm gonna kind of see how that develops. I do have pretty dry lips right now. They're not looking the best. So it could be that another day that I don't have that issue at all. I always like try them again. I actually am thinking I want to end this video with a little bit of Air Matte blush anyway, because I feel like I'm a little bit out of balance. So the Air Matte blush in Pink Lemonade. Just applying a little bit of that on top. Because I feel like the blush liner doesn't have that much pigment. Maybe I would apply that more on top of something, but this is mattifying the highlighter a little bit. That's interesting. Look how mattified this looks, and then this is what it was before. This is quite a nice blurry formula. Like a nice amount of pigmentation. It's looking really smooth. It's looking really nice. I like it. I'm just gonna go back in with a little bit of the My Heart Beats Disco highlighter because it looks a little off now. Just stamping it a little bit on top. Okay, this is gonna be the end result for this video. I feel like there are too many things to like go over everything right now. What I do want to say is that I really like the liquid bronzer and I really like the skin tint. Like the skin tint is looking really great. The Air Matte blush also beautiful. And I just really have to see how I feel in the end about this lip. Like I'm gonna leave it on for a little bit to see how it develops. It's looking pretty good from a distance, but up close I just see a little bit of weirdness, so we're gonna see. I feel like always with Catrice videos my look ends up looking a little bit like a mess, but I feel like there are a lot of products here with a lot of potential. I am very excited, and I'm very excited to try these more and to give you my update and my final review. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.